sons of war, and everyone died trampled on the floor.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy! This is truly turning into the most remarkable period of my life. I just can't believe what's happening to me. Every day, it just keeps getting, I was going to say deeper, but it's not deeper. Deeper in terms of my mind, where it's all going, how much I've got to think. That's sort of deep, but oh man, it's going the other way. I'm just being lifted up high at the moment. This is absolutely incredible. You know, they don't want you reading the Old Testament, do they? It's just it's their worst nightmare. It's their worst nightmare. Just people like me, normal people, just picking up the New Testament and giving it a read and really giving it a go and trying to understand it. Something that I'm fascinated with at the moment. Now remember, my belief system is if I'm fascinated by something, if something comes into my head as a new thought, God's put it there because God created me like this. I'm now walking with God. I try to hear his voice, I listen for his voice, I listen to his voice, and probably 90% of my day now is just made up of thinking about the Bible and the Lord and everything attached with it. So something that's really caught my attention as I read through the Old Testament is the 12 tribes of Israel, who they are, where they were, where they are now. Were they actually in the Bible? Were they actually over in Israel where it is today? Because everybody was scattered at the Tower of Babel, and the Tower of Babel happened before that. So anyway, I'm going to do another video on all that, on all this. I've got a fair bit to share about the 12 tribes and my place within that. But today I wanted to talk about, I'll call it mental illness, but it's not. You're not mentally ill. People that are struggling and they think it's through mental health, it's not that. You're not mentally unwell. You think you don't fit in. The fact is they don't fit in with you. You were created like this. You were created special. You were created as a purpose, with a purpose for God, as I was, as everyone was. Now what they've made you think is that you don't fit in because they don't want you to realise that promise. And what they do is they give you a whole heap of medication to dumb you down. They fluoridate your water. They give you vaccines. They genetically modify your food. Everything to get this brain not thinking and just thinking that you were here to work, pay tax, be a good citizen, and die. Have kids and then die, basically. That's the whole meaning of your life. Now, those of you who are more mentally ill than others, I'm thinking that it means that you've got a bigger purpose, a higher purpose with God than your average man. You could be one of the elect. You know, I say this stuff because I've got real history here. I've got real form. So I want to reflect today on my history with mental illness and just a little bit of my journey. What's brought me here today. I'm a fighter. I'll never stop fighting. So I was born a middle child, and that was difficult. It was really difficult growing up as a middle child. It was really hard because I'm one of 3 boys. So the firstborn's always, you know, the father's apple in their eye, and it's always holds a special place in the mother's heart. And then the second one comes along, and the second one's the youngest, and then they have, you know, they have that special place because they're the youngest. But then a third one comes along, and, you know, all of that you were getting because you were the youngest is gone. You're not getting anything because you're the eldest, and you're just this middle child. Now, I think the way that sort of manifested, and I don't think I love my parents. My parents are the best people in the world. I've got the best mum. I've got the best dad in the world anybody could ever imagine. But the way that manifested for me growing up was that I got parenting 101. You know, I was held up to a different set of standards, and that's manifested right through my life. I've always felt as though I've had to live to a higher set of standards than others. I see people all the time around me, they do shit and they just get away with it, where I've got this war at the moment. When I left Queensland, the real estate lady, she kept my bond. She kept my bond because because I washed the curtains. She sent me this checklist. She sent me this checklist on the day of the move, and it says on this checklist that all curtains must be washed or spot clean. And I did that, and now she's holding my bond, saying I need to be held accountable for my actions. I mean, that sort of shit doesn't seem to happen to others, but it does to me. You know, a different set of standards. So also as a middle child, I was a loner because my brothers really got along. They had similar interests. You know, they'd be out skateboarding and doing all those on their bikes and all that. So I did, you know, like bike riding. You know, I did stuff with them. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't have the bond with my two brothers as they do with each other. Although my bond with my brothers is very, very good, very tight. We are, the three of us. But growing up, it was definitely tighter between those two. So I was always a bit of an outsider. I was always outside with my telescope, and I just had all these nerdy, weird, you know, different interests. And it hasn't stopped, you know, as I say, with the curtains. I've got that all culminates next week. In May that happened, the curtains. I moved out of Brisbane in May, so it'll be damn near 9 months she's held on to that bond, and it all comes to a climax next Thursday. So it'll be very interesting to see how it pans. How it all pans out. It's I know it's been God that's done it. He's shown me. It's really helped me with my anger. He showed me that one of my afflictions is anger, and that's how he's helped me do it. When we had a hearing there the other day. I've got to go to this, you know, tribunal. Had to pay $120 to be heard. You know, she broke the rules, I followed the rules, and because she wasn't prepared, she got an adjournment. But I just know if I had broken the rules, there would have been no adjournment. I would have lost because I broke the rules. You know, it just happens all the time to me, and I'm not whinging. I'm just reflecting on my journey. So these themes have manifested for me throughout my life. I've never been popular. I cited that example there the other day. The reason I got off Facebook because one of the reasons was a guy said he's got a decision to make between KFC and McDonald's, and it gets over 100 likes and it goes off for weeks. You know, I put up these thought-provoking posts, these good posts, you know, it might be a nice picture or something. Nothing. I could post 10 things and not get one like, you know. And that's my life. My life's always been like that. And the Lord has led me here. The Lord has led me here because when you walk with the Lord, society rejects you. And it's just like, oh, it all just hits you with a thud. It really, really does. So mental illness. When I was about 23, I was at a really, really low ebb, So it's my testimony that when I was about 23, 24, so this was after that. Yeah, this is after, so it would have been about 25, 26 I was. My ex-wife, we weren't married, but we're living together. We've got 2 kids. After 4 months, she came to me one day and said, you have to leave. This relationship isn't working. Boom, I was out. Tough, you know, really, really tough to deal with. I had to pay child support for 18 years. My kids still don't talk to me. You know, I've just had adversity all the way through my life. And it really started to get to me. I remember back in, it was about 98, 99, round there, just after the kids were born. I had a tooth. I had to have root canal surgery on a tooth. And the dentist completely messed it up. I was in agonising pain when the anaesthetic wore off. He wouldn't answer the phone when I tried to ring him. And then I had to try and find a dentist on the Saturday, which cost me an arm and a leg, and she had to pull the tooth out. Now that dentist was held, he wasn't held accountable because he wouldn't answer me. He wouldn't let me into the practice. He called the police, said I was being a threat, you know, made it all out to be me, you know, and these sort of things have just happened to me throughout my life, you know. The last 2 jobs I've worked in, I was just bullied out of the joint, and the reason why they fire me is because they say I'm being exactly what they were being, you know, because I just stood up to them and said, this is wrong. I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not a piece of shit. You're not going to treat me like a piece of shit. But anyway, back in those days, so I had this tooth extracted, and I was at a really low ebb. It really triggered me, the kids, and it all really started to get to me. So I went to see a psychologist, and straight away this psychologist didn't even really want to talk. She just referred me to a psychologist. And that psychologist, he was just this weird old man. He looked like one of those crazy German scientists, you know, and he probably was.
Anyway, he puts me on medication. It was 3 tablets of, it started with Z, it was antidepressant, it was Zoloft or something like that, he put me on. And I was on 3 a day, and I remember I went to the pharmacist to get the script filled, and the pharmacy lady, not the pharmacist, just the lady, she said, mate, this is bad, you shouldn't be taking all this. So anyway, I got a second opinion, and I didn't take the pills, and I just went away, and I just festered in the abyss, just, what the hell is this place? Why am I here? I hate it. I hate life. I just want to die, you know. That's how I used to think. Fast forward, so all of these things are still going on. I was about 25, 26 there. I'm 45 now. So it's about 20 years ago. Whoa, that's 20 years ago. Fast forward to it's about 2 years ago. So 2016, September 2016 is when I learned the moon landing was a hoax, and then all this started for me. And I was at a point where I sort of just wanted answers, you know. I wanted answers as to what was going on, why I felt like this, why I was here, you know, all of it, just the missing links and all that. And you'll see on my first Christmas message there, that was 2016, so it was just after I found out about the moon landing. You read that first Christmas message, I'll leave the link in the box below. It's all about the moon. I've always been fascinated by the moon, and I used to think the moon was the creator and all this sort of stuff. And my belief system was that I believe the moon was like it had like tentacles, and it'd just be like a web, and it'd hit this group of people, that group of people, and then from that group of people it'd start hitting individuals, and your life was controlled and contrived, you know. That's sort of how I used to view the world. But this is back just about 2 years ago now. It was Christmas 2016. So I went to see this psychologist, and it was fascinating. So 7 times I went to her, $200 a go. That's how lost I was, and how much I wanted answers. But anyway, I went to see this lady, and every single time I got onto these topics, such as, you know, why am I here? Where did we come from? What's my purpose in life? She would just say things like, sometimes you just got to admit in life that you're not going to find the answers to the questions you seek. You know, she's a psychiatrist, $200 a week, you know. And I ended up ending it. After the 6th time she asked me, she said, Brett, she said, there's nothing wrong with you. She said, I think you're fine. I think you just need to talk things out a little bit. I said, all right. Last time I went to her, the time after that, about a week or so later, she said, Brett, she says, I really want to revisit the conversation that you might need to be on medication, because I was adamant, I'm not going on medication, I'm not interested. You know, and I thought, no way, you can't one week say I'm fine, then the next week say I need medication after all the shit you've been saying to me, and you're giving me no answers. And every time I would tell her about these dreams, I was having these dreams back then, and they were quite risque, you know, because I was a sinner, I still am a sinner, but I was a big time sinner. And I was sharing some of these dreams she had, and all she wanted to do was centre on that, you know, Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah, not interested in the Lord. And I look back at it all now, and I just think, you know, the whole time it was God, it was the Lord being graceful, just revealing it to me gradually. And now, I said to my brother the other day, like, what my ex-wife did to me, the mother of my children did to me, I said to him, there's no way anyone could do this to me today. I was such a pussy back then. He just giggled, you know, because my brother knows me, you know, and he just giggled, and he sees what I am today and what I was then, and I just go, the hour's night, I'm here. He actually said it to me the other night. My brother, we were talking about Dad and his spirituality and all that, and he just said that now the sun's charging on. I thought, oh, how good's that? So it's been a tough life. It's been a really, really difficult life. It's been traumatising at times. It's made no sense. There's been times where I've had nowhere to turn. Part of the reason I went to Brisbane was I just couldn't do it anymore. I just had to leave the coast. I just couldn't deal with so much of it here anymore, so that's why I had to leave. And I look back, and, you know, it sort of raises another concept for me. Are people introduced into your world to keep you from the Lord or to bring you closer to the Lord? I definitely believe the latter's close, because this fella that told me about the moon landing, we still speak today. We're still great friends today, and I I trust I've got a friend for life in this fella. He was definitely he was sent by the Lord to call me. And I look at other people, and I've just had periods where I've been popular, little periods, just little snippets. I remember years 12 at school, just out of nowhere. You know, I was just a loner, nobody wanted to know me, and all of a sudden the last year, I was just one of the most popular kids in school. People laughed at my jokes, and I just thought, what is this? You know, as soon as you leave school, you're back into the cesspit of what it used to be. I remember the summer of 2011 and 12 was extraordinary for me. You know, it was a big sinful time for me, and I sin, but oh man, did we have some epic nights out and some extraordinary times, and I was friends with the popular people and all that, but you know, as easily as it come, as quickly as it come, it all went away just as quick, and they've all left me now. All those people have left me now. The great clean out happened a couple of years ago, and none of them are left. I've got a few friends left up in Brisbane, but they've hung on. I just wonder whether they're going to be saved because they've hung. I don't know. The world's not about me, but all I can do is reflect on my journey. So all of you out there who, and the other one I just want to touch on briefly as well is vaccines and autism and kids with Down syndrome. And I'm adamant now that, you know, these people, these pricks that are running the world, they are illuminated. That means they know more than us. They're illuminated by Lucifer. They've got knowledge. And I'm adamant that these people that are getting autism, they're being attacked. They're being attacked by these vaccines to keep them from God, because they truly do. They are going to be walkers with God. I've got a couple of people close to me, a couple of kids that have got autism. So my relationship with them is going to be fascinating over the next little period, because I've never met a kid with autism that isn't likeable. They're funny kids. They're honest. You know, they're very focused on what they want to do. But I've never met a kid with autism who isn't a cracking kid. It's funny how we talk about kids, isn't it? Because it's only new. You know, but I'm not going to talk about conspiracies because it's, you know, it's settled. They're not conspiracies, they're fact. You know, vaccines cause autism. It's just fact, you know. So I just wonder whether they're being deliberately hit. We've got something in our brain, those of us, because we are a remnant of society. The elect, I don't know. As I read the Bible, I'm hoping to hear more about the elect. But we are a remnant of society. So I do wonder whether because I'm going to do big things for the Lord. I'm going to do enormous work for the Lord. I can see it. I can see it. You can probably see it too with the way I speak and the glint in my eye. I got to do magnificent work for the Lord, and something that I really want everyone to know, particularly those of you who are battling with mental illness. Hi, I'm here. Can you see me through your drug haze? Stop taking drugs. Stop taking pills. There's nothing wrong with you. Read the Bible. Start searching for answers that are not of this earth, because the answers aren't in the earth. The more I learn about the 12 tribes, the more my head just explodes. Seek answers from above, from the Bible. But I just wanted to say to all of those people, just pick up that Bible. Pick up that Bible. Even if you don't understand it, I just encourage everybody who wants to start with the Bible. You have to start with the New Testament for mine, because the Old Testament's just too difficult. Try to have somebody there that you trust. If anybody who subscribes to my channel and then seeing this wants to start, I don't claim to be any sort of expert, but please hit me up. I'll try and guide you as best I can with what I know. But what I'm finding is all these people are coming out of the woodwork now. All this information's coming out of the woodwork. There's a channel there that I really respect and admire, End Times with Brother D. Amazing analysis of the Bible and the 12 tribes, and then that just leads you to other places. And then I was just in the gym there now. And I'm between sets, and I'm just like on my phone researching the 12 tribes of Israel. I look up, half an hour's gone by and I'm at the gym, you know. That's what it's doing to me. And it's remarkable. It's amazing. All of you with mental illness, please get off the pills, because you are my brother in Christ, and I want you, and I want to fellowship with you. And Jesus just wants as many people as he possibly can to fellowship with. So time's up people. We are in end times. I'm absolutely adamant of that. And that's why I've been called at this hour. That's why God wanted me at 45 and for me to be this personality at 45 at this hour, because it's happening. The evidence is all around. I can feel it. Other people who walk with Christ, in the body of Christ, they can feel it. It's happening. You see it in the world. All of the world events now, they're reflecting Bible prophecy. It's been going on for centuries, and it's really, really starting to climax now. So get off the pills, open the Bible, and come walk with me, my brothers.